There's another former model who's also married to a super-rich Republican monster, Mrs. Rupert Murdoch, Jerry Hall. I wish I knew why I have a recurring dream I'm pinned beneath a giant orange sack of shit. Toss his boxy clown suits on the front lawn. Just tell him I'm leaving you and I'm taking our child. He would be stunned. We have a child?
Bill Maher is back, and this time he's not holding back. Instead of ripping open Christmas presents, he's tearing apart Trump and Melania, exposing their dirty laundry for all to see. Buckle up, because this roast is even more intense than Trump's rage following the Diet Coke shortage. Subscribe to the channel to see how we need to expose Trump and demonstrate that the Democrats will win. If you thought Maher was done after that opening fire, think again. He focused on an unlikely target. First Lady Melania Trump, who, let me tell you, Maher completely removed rather than just crossed the line, is what got me all worked up over her. He seemed to take issue with her seeming discontent in the White House and doesn't buy into the whole stand by your man thing, believing instead that Melania has more power than she acknowledges. This Maher likened Melania to a classical Greek tragedy. Yes, you heard correctly, he asserted that by preventing Trump from having any bedroom action, she might remove Alyssa Strata and end his administration.
Getting men to change their destructive ways by threatening to leave them, humiliate them, or cut them off in bed, it's a tale as old as time. In the ancient Greek play Lysistrata, women end a war by denying sex to their men. It was the original Bush doctrine.
Talk about going under the radar, but wait, things will get better. Maher didn't only advise Melania to go. Oh no, Trump had to say even more. He said, "You hate his creepy little monkey fingers touching your hands, so kick him to the curb." I can only imagine how painful it must be for you, Donald. Hold on to your hats. Maher became extremely aggressive and suggested that Melania abandon Trump in favor of, wait for it, a Mexican man. Can you imagine how Trump would react to that?
And finally, new rule, Melania Trump must do what dozens of buildings around the world have done and take the Trump name off. But maybe if you left him for another man, especially if that man was Mexican.
What I would call a political ploy, Maher seems to think that it would make Trump collapse on his own. However, Maher wasn't done yet. He chose to act as a matchmaker and link Melania with someone unlikely Jerry Hall, the wife of ally Robert Murdoch, and she seemed to have the ability to work together like a superhero team, surpassing their super-rich Republican opponent. Monster spouses who anticipated that Maher would succeed in reality TV.
Because there's another former model who's also married to a super-rich Republican monster, Mrs. Rupert Murdoch, Jerry Hall. Now, I know I'm probably dreaming and Melania isn't going to do any of this, but what if she had someone to do it with? Divorce is always easier in pairs. What if you had a buddy, Melania, and you two have a lot in common? Your husbands are ruining the world.
Here's where Maher truly pulled the trigger. He said that men like Trump and Murdoch are like cavemen who can't take a single thing, an ego-lashing in Ma's world, and that they can't endure loneliness and public humiliation. Though Melania's departure from Trump would be like Superman's kryptonite, the common gold did not stop there. Maher imagined the tabloid headlines if Melania genuinely turned her back on Trump. This article on Milan's 200-pound weight loss is featured prominently on the homepage. As if that wasn't enough, Maher channeled his inner his weekly and developed 25 things you don't know about Melania Trump. And let me tell you, these weren't your typical fluff pieces. He got Melania to say things like, Oscar de la Hoya is the best sex I've ever had.
I hope I inspire little girls everywhere to marry for money. Oh, that's so sweet. My Secret Service code name is that poor, poor woman.
Talk about putting insult to injury. The most scathing criticism, however, came from Maher, who indicated that Melania's whole function as First Lady was a terrible copy-paste of Michelle Obama's tenure. He even advised that she copy Michelle's list for her own.
I copied this list from Michelle Obama. Well,
Speaking of adding insult to injury, the Maher, however, delivered the most biting critique, saying that Michelle Obama's whole first ladyship was a horrible replica of hers. He even suggested that Melania replicate Michelle's list for her personal, I think it's a low blow that I stole this list from Michelle Obama. Thoughts from Maher on Melania have been shared, but what about the big guy himself? Trump has no intention of dodging Maher's funny SS. The cartoon addressed the previous president's behavior in great detail, and trust me, it wasn't pretty. Maher depicted Trump as a man who is so insecure that he can't handle even small things, going beyond simply making fun of him. Maher's definition of rejection: if Melania left Trump, his entire universe would collapse. Can you believe that the self-proclaimed steady genius has fallen?
It's not anti-feminist to say that in addition to doing everything men can do intellectually, women also have another power. The power of the ultimatum. Maybe he would implode on his own. Maybe it falls to you now, Melania. You can end this reign of terror, and all you have to do is channel your inner Taylor Swift and walk out the door. Tried to stop Trump and couldn't. Hillary couldn't. Never Trumpers couldn't. Mueller couldn't. Is there anyone left who can check Donald Trump? Yes, Melania.
But Maher did not stop there. He also mocked Trump's physical appeal. You might recall that when he stroked Melania Trump's hand, he had weird tiny monkey fingers. Maher then made fun of Trump's wardrobe. A reference to his bulky clown outfits. I guess not everyone is impressed with the emperor's new clothes. Let's also not forget about Trump's ego. Maher claimed that Trump is so dependent on Melania that her departure will leave him completely bewildered. He added that Trump would be shocked and ask, "Can we have a child talk about a burn?" Maher seems to be saying that Trump is so conceited that he is unable to even maintain a household. But what about the true killer? Can you believe that Maher compared Trump to another controversial figure, Rupert Murdoch, and said that these two are to blame for the problems facing the world? It seems that two persons are in charge of the planet in their hands, and Maher claims they are both incredibly rich Republicans.
Melania, the world needs you. President Hellboy has proved to be impervious to facts, reason, shame, and the law. Toss his boxy clown suits on the front lawn. Just tell him, I'm leaving you and I'm taking our child. He would be stunned. We have a child?
Nor was Maher bashful. He criticized Trump's interactions with the media and his fixation with Fox News, suggesting that the former president is so susceptible to flattery that a few kind remarks from the network can completely change his mood. It's as though Trump is a weather vane that spins in the direction that the Fox News wind blows. Maher's commentary on Trump's past marriages, in which he quipped that spouses don't leave you, you leave them, was maybe the most cruel part of the roast. As if Trump's ego is so frail that he must intervene to save face, Ma implied that Trump can't take rejection. And just when you thought Maher could get any nastier, he dropped this bombshell. He claimed that Melania leaving Trump could actually put an end to his reign of terror. Can you imagine the idea that a single woman could topple the might of the Trump empire? It's like a bomb. Maher dropped his comedy bomb on the Trumps, presenting a political fairy tale in which Melania is the improbable hero. However, what happened next was that Melania and Donald just rolled over and accepted it. Poor probability when dealing with the Trumps, you cannot afford to turn the other cheek. These two are like two wounded animals that are surrounded and prepared to attack. You may be thinking that they can't possibly reply to every tiny insult, but strap up, buttercup, for everything is possible with these people. Remember that this is the same guy who, on Twitter, got into a heated argument with a teenager about who should be named Guy of the Year. So, what's the deal? Have they responded yet? At least not yet? Don't be fooled by the tranquility at Camp Trump. It's just the quiet before the storm. And we all know how much Trump loves to create chaos. Let's be honest, Trump isn't exactly renowned for having thick skin. Rather, he resembles an orange balloon that will burst at any moment. What then is preventing him from speaking? What about Melania? She's usually as silent as a mime in a library. But maybe Maher's joke about her copying Michelle Obama's homework touched a nerve. We might see her break her silence with another speech that was plagiarized, or maybe she'll just redecorate. Maybe he's planning something especially hot for his next rally. Again, nothing screams "I'm mad" like blood-red trees for Christmas decorations at the White House. But here's the really big deal. What if they truly take Ma's advice? Can you picture waking up to this headline? Melania abandons talk about a dramatic twist for Trump. The memes alone would take over the internet. And before he knew it, he would be tweeting truths about false news and caps. If they do respond, though, what would happen if Trump goes on one of these? What about the rest of us? It will be like Christmas arrived early. Late-night hosts will be scurrying to join in on the action. Writers for Saturday Night Live will be working overtime. It will be comedic gold for everyone. But what if they stay quiet? That's a whole new can of worms. His famous rants and his diehard supporters will devour it like it was the last Big Mac on Earth. They'll be ordering Maher's head on a platter, possibly with a side of freedom fries Trump's. Supporters may start to question if their fearless leader has lost his touch, has reached his limit as a big bad wolf, or is just biding his time before launching a biblical-scale tweet storm. Regardless of what transpires, one thing is for sure. This is far from though they may be down, over the Trumps are always in the game. They are like those inflatable clowns you used to pound as a child. No matter how hard you beat them, they simply keep getting back up and smiling at terrible. Granted, it's possible that you're wondering if May is the only comedian making fun of the Trump administration. Well, let me tell you that he is not alone in his comedic jihad, but there is something special about Maher's roasts that set him apart from the others. Sure, late-night hosts like Fallon and Colbert are hurling jokes about Trump around like candy at a parade, but Maher goes farther than that. Instead of just throwing jabs, he launches comedic missiles. Going for the knockout. What makes Maher's roasts so powerful is that it seems as though he has a PhD in Trumpology. Instead of just making fun of Trump's hair and tweeting, Maher goes deep into his personal attacks, hurting his ego by making it clear that you detest his creepy little monkey fingers touching your hand.
You know you wanna. Your unhappiness is obvious. You despise his creepy little monkey fingers touching your hand. So kick him to the curb. Slap away that hand for good. No more public embarrassment.
That's not a jest. Trump's self-image is being surgically attacked, but this is where Maher really excels. Not only does he target Trump, but he also includes the entire family. Nobody is safe from Maher's funny crosshairs. Even impoverished Baron and Melania, he seems to be using the entire thing like a whack-a-mole. Other comedians would steer clear of the First Lady, but let's speak about Melania Trump's material in the Trump family. Like a bull in a china shop, Maher enters the scene and gets Melania to say things like, "I hope I inspire little girls everywhere to marry for money, and my Secret Service code name is that poor, poor woman," which is exactly what his audience is looking for. However, Maher is more than just a skilled boxer. He also has a gift for fusing highbrow references to obscene humor. For example, he brought up the ancient Greek theater while talking about Melania's unwillingness to have sex with Trump. Who else than Lysistrata has likened Trump's marriage to classic literature? It seems like he's combining a humorous concoction consisting of one part history lesson, one part satire, and a dash of shock factor. Some could assert Maher pushes the envelope too much. Some may argue that he's doing things that other comedians won't. But that is precisely why, in a world full with Trump jokes, his roast is so successful. In addition to his willingness to go beyond the boundaries, Maher's delivery really makes him stand out. When he talks about Trump, you can almost see the passion leaking from his lips. It's as though he has a personal grudge against the man, and his audience devours it. So while other comedians might be happy to make fun of Trump's hair or tweets, in addition to trying to make you laugh, Maher is out there making comic ones. Perhaps he hopes that his remarks will have an impact. Maher launched his comic bomb on the Trumps, but what happens after the dust settles? Let's look at the aftermath of the roast apocalypse. You would think that after all these years, people would be tired of jokes about Trump. But no, Maher's criticism is spreading like wildfire. On social media, a wildfire, the internet is catching fire, like if he struck a match, and people are uploading videos more quickly than Trump can tweet. Okay, so he can't do that anymore. But here's the true irony. Maher's comments about Melania leaving Trump aren't just making people laugh. They're sowing seeds in people's minds, so all of a sudden everyone is serving as an armchair marital counselor for the Trumps.
Every time I look at my husband, I'm reminded of the Slovenian national dish. a fat, greasy sausage filled with cheese. I wish I knew why I have a recurring dream I'm pinned beneath a giant orange sack of shit.